Today on DNVR Buffs Live, there's apparently a new House versus NCAA settlement.
Yes.
And Jake Schwanitz will attempt to explain that to a man who's in no position to intake that information, and that person might be me. Let's go.
Buff Nation!
Let's go.
Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live. Big day. New era of college football is upon us. We're going to break it down as best as we can. I'm just going to put a disclaimer right now. I am not a lawyer. I'm a guy on the internet reading you things that I saw on the internet.
That's what I usually am. But now I'm just guy who returned from boys' golf trip yesterday.
Are you sure you're not local celebrity?
Oh,
Right,
geez.
Koenigsberg?
No, I'm a man with very few working brain cells. Who has once been referred to as a local celebrity by people that work here. Which means it doesn't count.
That was hilarious.
That was quite funny.
Did you see the one response?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
It was all, that's cool, who?
Who is?
I was like, damn, I got cooked.
Can you say
and I
that?
deserved it.
Right? Can you say that?
And it's not my fault. I was set up by my own people to be cooked.
Yeah, you really did get put in a bad spot there, bro.
That was wild. I feel like you're more than qualified to explain this whole thing to us, Jake.
The house settlement or
Yeah.
RK's local celebrity status?
The house settlement. Can't think of a better
Okay.
guy that I don't want to explain it to me.
I've got a cheat sheet here.
Let's get it.
Today on the show, we'll talk Phil Steele's Big 12 projections, Kam Mikell, massive recruiting update, lots of stuff to get to there. But yes, we'll start with the house settlement. Breaking it all down. So what just happened is tons and tons of like former college athletes, basically. So many of them were suing the NCAA over wages and all this stuff, like lost potential wages, all that stuff over the past 10, 15 years, whatever it is. They grouped them all together in this House versus NCAA settlement. It got settled. The judge approved it on Friday. So basically, the big number you're going to hear is $2.8 billion. The NCAA is going to pay nearly $2.8 billion in back damages over the next 10 years to athletes who competed in college at any time from 2016 through present day.
Sheesh.
Okay.
So you say my boy Dion finna get a check?
Dion might be getting a check.
Let's go.
We should do an unboxing.
Say
with
it
it.
Hell yeah, we'll let him
Let's
know.
go.
This also, it brings out, this is basically a whole like reformation of college football in some ways. This is now the revenue sharing era. We were in, I don't even know what you'd call the last era,
The NIL
Wild
era.
West NIL type era. There's getting a cap sort of put on it, a salary cap, if you will, really. It's $20.5 million per school starting in 2025, 2026. It will increase every year during the decade-long deal. These new payments are in addition to scholarships and other benefits that athletes already received. Rick George already tweeted out his support for the settlement. I guess he wrote a letter to Buff Nation. I can pull that up at some point. I'll find it. But it brings forward a lot of changes in college football. Okay, so this is from forthewin.com. 5 changes that could be coming or that you will notice.
Jacob
Sorry,
better get
Jacob.
cut.
Facts. He got to.
Starting with this one, the College Sports Commission. So this officially starts on July 1st. And this is what the new College Sports Commission is going to do. They're going to make rules. They're going to manage the NIL Go system. We'll get to that. They're They're going to figure out how to determine the legitimacy of those NIL deals and how to appeal or how to deal with appeals by the athletes. And we have like a new College Sports Commission CEO. I don't know if you want to call this a college football commissioner.
We're trying really hard to not call them a commissioner.
It's the closest thing we have, though.
Yeah.
Yes. His name is Brian Seeley. He was hired by the 4 Power 4 conferences, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC. He worked with the MLB for a long time. He was the vice president of investigations and deputy general counsel since 2014. Worked in like DC, like super smart guy, went to law school, all that. And he's only 42, like super young.
Okay.
So he's heading this whole thing basically.
What school did he go to? This is important to me.
I don't know if I
Very
can
important.
find this. Princeton University and Harvard Law School.
Okay.
How's that?
We'll take that.
Yeah, no biases to worry
We'll
about.
take that.
If he wants to hook up Princeton and Harvard, that's
my
fine with me.
guess.
Okay, next one. This is that NIL Go thing that I talked about.
Right.
This is a clearinghouse established by Deloitte. Deloitte, some massive company. I think they work in like taxes and stuff like
Accounting,
that.
yeah.
But they also help with some like, they used to help with some NIL stuff in college football.
Pretty
I
sure
think,
they also tally the Heisman votes.
is that what they do?
Yeah.
They do something with, I think, baseball as well. That's like super, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're going to basically look at NIL deals that come in outside of revenue sharing. So outside of the cap that you're given for revenue sharing, they're going to look at all these NIL deals, and they basically have the power to say whether this deal is good or not, whether this is like real NIL
Yep.
or whether it's pay for play type of thing.
Yep.
So there are some guardrails coming in that regard. Also important note, Division I athletes who sign an NIL deal worth $600 or more will have to go through NIL Go.
So all of them, pretty much.
Pretty much, yes.
If anyone wants that $5.99 deal, though, you know who to call.
Salary cap and roster limits. Those are coming. As mentioned, the $20.5 million cap starting this year. It's going to increase by 4% annually for the next 10 years. And then roster caps.
Well, quickly, let's talk about that.
Sure.
That should essentially put an end to the collective. Now, I think there are workarounds that will be done. There always will be. But what the NIL collectives are doing now, which is like, okay, this is an NIL deal in exchange for you like promoting our event, and it's like $100,000. That's not going to fly anymore.
Right.
So they're going to have to be a lot more strategic and above board about the way that they're doing things if this kind of system works the way that it's supposed to.
Yes. You have any thoughts yet, Scotty?
I was just going to say, so if Deloitte gets a NIL proposal deal, whatever, on their desk and it don't fit the parameters, then what?
They just basically say no can do. You just don't get paid for it, I guess.
Very interesting. It's a lot of power in that.
There is. It's quite a bit of power in that.
And didn't we say, wasn't there something a couple weeks ago where there was some study about like a large percentage of all the NIL deals recently under this new thing would have been like denied by Deloitte?
Yep.
Which is very interesting. So yeah, like you mentioned, these schools are going to have to get really creative in how they, kind of market this and
Or-
put these deals together.
Just go and like do what you should have done 5 years ago and operate how NIL was supposed to operate, not pay for play.
Yeah.
Go find local businesses. Go find
Right.
people to invest in your program, into your roster. Actual benefits in terms of NIL, in terms of like advertisements, like
Right.
not just pay for play type of
Sell
stuff.
jerseys.
Exactly. Appearances, all that stuff. I can't find a thing on roster caps yet. We've talked about this a lot. Walk-ons are grandfathered in. So if you are a walk-on now, basically you will be allowed to do that as long as you have eligibility. So football rosters will shrink to 105 players. That's resulting in schools cutting more than 20 players, some schools cutting more than 20 players. But grandfathering is going to factor in at least the next 4 to 5 years, obviously. Okay, new date to keep an eye out for. March 1st is the deadline for non-Power 5 schools. So it doesn't really apply to us, but basically you have to opt into the revenue sharing. So every year you're gonna have to opt in and say like, yes, we want to be a part of this type of thing.
What if you don't?
I don't know.
Okay.
In Colorado already has.
Yes.
From what I've seen / heard.
Yes.
Yes.
Assumed.
Rick George has been all in support of it. He said on Twitter, I don't know if it was a video or a tweet, but basically they intend to use the full $20.5 million for this upcoming school year.
Yeah, I got RG's email that he sent out the Buff Nation here pulled up, and that was like, as soon as I got the update of that the settlement passed, like I got the email.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Rick George.
I'm sure.
And obviously, here at the beginning, he mentioned, he goes, "We've been preparing for this eventuality for nearly a year, and I believe we position CU athletics to be successful in this new era of college athletics." Talking about revenue sharing from Rick George, that $20.5 million per school each year. RG goes, "Each CU sport program will have a revenue share budget that is proportional to the revenue that sport generates. But all of our student athletes will be able to participate in revenue sharing to some degree if they choose." So pretty much kind of saying there that football.
It's all going to football.
Yeah. Pretty much a large portion of that is going to football, and for good reason. And what you were talking about too with it having to get back to just true NIL. He mentioned this here at the end when he's talking about third party NIL. He goes, "I look forward to sharing more about the innovative initiatives we're working on, but in the meantime, businesses can still directly support our student athletes, and that is crucial for the long-term success of our programs. If you own a business or a decision maker in your company, we need your support in engaging in third-party NIL agreements with our student athletes." So again, that's coming from Colorado Athletic Director Rick George. So it's good to hear though that again, it was assumed football is going to get the majority of the funds because
some projections I've seen have said like 75 to 80% of revenue sharing is going to football.
At CU or just
nationwide.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, football is the revenue generator. Very few schools generate significant revenue from basketball, and usually those two sports subsidize the rest of the athletic program.
Yep.
But I will say, I think most people would agree CU was behind the NIL curve. Mm-hmm. I feel as though they learned their lesson from that and have been very ahead of the curve on this.
Very proactive.
And so credit to RG and the entire athletic program. This has been focus number one, priority number one. Every time I've talked to anyone since this kind of idea started to come up.
Since I've been here, it's the talk at CU has been about how can we improve NIL. Constantly, last 3 years.
Chase, I think, makes a point in point 2 here where he goes, "This more at this point more than any other time. Like if you don't have a football team that's generating revenue, the rest of the athletic department is going to suffer. That's just a fact of the matter here at this point in time with college sports."
Yeah, I think I talked about this recently on the show, but for years, anytime anything came up in any sport, when it was in reference to Colorado athletics, it was always just, well, once football gets back, we can address that. Mm-hmm. Because you just have no money if you're not selling out your football stadium and selling concessions and merch and all of that stuff. And obviously that's one of the many reasons why Coach Prime's contract has already paid for itself multiple times over, because he turned that around instantly. There was no warming up period, anything like that. It was like Coach Prime was hired. The next day, Colorado gear was sold more than any other team in the Fanatics store.
Thanks.
Overnight. Okay, we good on the base work of this thing?
I think so.
For now.
Okay.
You're going to have to re-explain some things.
Okay, that's fine. On the other side of this break, we're going to tell you why Colorado is not just a contender. They're built for this new system, basically. This is great for CU football and the athletic department out there in Boulder.
No doubt.
Shout out to our friends over at First Bank. Whether you're on the road, at home, or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today, and you could earn $300. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. No matter where life takes you, First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you're ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus. firstbank.com/bonus to open your account. Bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Game Time. I was recently talking to a buddy about going to a concert, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think it's sold out." And it was just such a foreign concept to me that he even said that, because I was like, nothing is ever sold out when you have Game Time.
Facts.
In fact, can't remember the last time I bought tickets from the actual event. I always just use Game Time, partly because I'm not very good at planning things. The other part is because it's always last minute tickets at the lowest prices. And if you're like me and you procrastinate, you're going to need those last minute tickets at the lowest prices, and Game Time does it the best. So whether you're hitting up a baseball game, you want to go to the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup Final, you want to go to a concert this summer, you got to have Game Time. Use the code Game Time. Use the code Buffs.
Yes, Buffs.
Use the code Buffs at Game Time for $20 off your first purchase. Again, last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed at Game Time.
All right. So Colorado just has, they have a coach that no one else has. And honestly, that's where it all starts and ends, is Coach Prime. What he's already done for this university is those strengths that you saw the last 2 years are basically what this new settlement is built on. It's built on real NIL.
Yeah.
It's built on, proving to recruits and players that your program is able to kind of sell itself. That you can bring in these third-party NIL deals, and that's what's going to give you the extra juice in the revenue-sharing era, because the playing field is somewhat leveled with the $20.5 million. You can divvy that up however you want, whatever school you are between the sports, but to go over that, you need businesses involved, and as Rick George said, it's paramount. Mm-hmm. Coach Prime, Charlie Offerdahl and Alton McCaskill were in a Almonds commercial. Mm-hmm. It's the power that he has and commands allows for these things to happen, and it's going to mean more players like Charlie and Alton, Camden Dempsey. The list just keeps going on and on. Meanwhile, your superstars, Jordan Seaton, Julian Lewis, are going to continue to be superstars and will have a natural way to do it because of Coach Prime and what he brings.
Yeah, I don't know how many schools out there had their two top players last season not taking any money from the collective. And that's where Colorado was with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
Oh.
Why? Because those guys were making so much money on real NIL deals, like the one that Travis Hunter has from Celsius, like the one that Shedeur has from Gatorade, and so on and so forth, that they didn't need to. And first of all, they still could have. Yep. By the way, it was selfless of them in the first place to accept not taking additional money from the collective. But their value as ambassadors for brands was so high that they were able to cash in on real NIL deals. Mm-hmm. The only way that that's possible is with Coach Prime.
Yep.
Now there's going to be an Arch Manning and a couple guys around the country who are going to be stars, and they'll get those deals too. But your chances of becoming a superstar increase exponentially by setting foot on campus at Colorado and aligning yourself next to Coach Prime. That means, just him hyping you up is worth so much. But all of your games are on national television. The list goes on and on and on. Anything that you do is perceived as cooler because you're doing it with Coach Prime at Colorado, which then makes you more valuable as an ambassador for brands. So you're right. When it comes to generating real money from real NIL deals, I don't know if any program is more well-positioned than Colorado.
And I don't know if there's a program that benefits more, I think, from these new changes to the NIL and college sports and college football in particular, because when you're talking about the marketability with these third-party NIL, whatever you want to call it, there has to be real marketability. And I don't know if there's a college football coach that, a brand, say an Almonds brand, you would want Coach Prime over any other coach in college football in your commercial, just for, he's going to resonate with the most people. And when you want somebody like Coach Prime, Coach Prime is going to be like, all right, you can have me, but I need at least two of my players in here too.
Right.
And that is just going to, roll over and pay off super dividends over the next few years. crazy era that we're going into.
The other side of this, and I want to see this to believe it first, but I'm going to believe right now. The other side of this is like for years right now, the competition has been what alumni base has the most money and is willing to give the most.
Exactly.
And that's just not an arena that Colorado was able to compete in as well as some of the other schools. Now that should be neutralized. Again, it's always kind of mattered, even when it was illegal to pay players. So it's still going to play a role. But if it's neutralized, like Missouri should be knocked down a few pegs by this.
Exactly.
You would think, yes.
So it'll be interesting to see. But if that's the case, it benefits Colorado because for whatever reason, even with the Coach Prime, with the Coach Prime effect, we still weren't able to quite compete at the highest level when it comes to that type of money raising.
But also the thing that is working in Colorado and Coach Prime's advantage is this is just how they've been operating the last 2 years already.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like they haven't been just throwing NIL money at the portal. They haven't been throwing it at top recruits.
It's a good point. It's not going to be a culture shock like it probably is going to be for other programs.
100%. Like you're going to see at some programs like this last year, guys coming in from this last year who, I mean, they're going to be walking in chains, the newest clothes, newest cars, like crazy NIL deal. And the guys coming in after them, it's going to be a lot different. And you're going to see this like sort of schism a bit. You're not going to see that at Colorado. I mean, yeah, Jordan and Julian like carry different clout and, have more motion, for lack of a better term, than a lot of other players on the team. But you can't really, hate on them for that.
And
honestly,
it's been like
that's
that
just who
too.
they are.
It's not going to be new to anybody.
Yeah. So, that's where we're at right now.
So I would say all in all, a great day for Colorado.
Absolutely.
Massive weekend.
Absolutely. And as Rick George said, and as someone mentioned Reggie's name, Calhoun Jr., like all these moves, like they've been planning for this.
Yeah.
They've been ready for it. I mean, honestly, if you go all the way back to the coaching search in 2022, like it seems like this was at the forefront of their mind, honestly.
And it should be a good day for college football at large. The lack of any sort of guidelines in this new world, I think, has been detrimental to the average fan who doesn't want to read about house settlements, who just wants to, know who's on their team and cheer for them on Saturdays. And honestly, even that's been hard for the last couple of years. So obviously, this isn't changing the transfer portal necessarily, although it could have an impact. The fact that you can't just jump in and have hundreds of thousands of dollars thrown at you just for the idea of moving.
Yeah.
Maybe it will cut down on transfers a little bit, but just in general, college football starting to put some guardrails out there. I just think it makes it easier for the average person to pay attention and understand what's happening.
Yes. And then, one last thing. I also think you kind of alluded to it there, at least in Colorado's regard, like because they've been doing this, because the program has just kind of the last 2-3 years been following, for lack of a better term, these guidelines, I guess, just operating in this way. When these changes do happen and, you start to see some of these potential schisms like on other teams, like I think you might have less players potentially leave Colorado at a certain point because it's just going to be so cut and dry, honestly. Like Coach Prime does not play the NIL game. Like he is not going to bargain with you at all. If that's what it's going to come down to, then see ya type of thing. Like, and it's going to be even more straightforward because it's like, here's your revenue sharing cut. If you want more, you got to you got to play basically. You got to perform. And that's when the real NIL deals start to come in after that.
And I feel like too, if that's really important to you, the NIL part of it, Colorado is the place to be for all the reasons that we've just talked about. Like, so I think it's gonna cut both ways in a good way. I think Colorado is gonna be a really attractive place for the high profile recruit who doesn't give a damn about NIL, just wants a stage to ball out at. And I think also it's gonna be a good place for the player who NIL and money that they can earn is near the top of their list. Colorado's a good place, I think, for both of those type of athletes now at this point, which is something I don't think you would have been able to say at any point in the past.
And I kind of just talked myself through it in the moment there, but I think this actually will cut down on transfers quite a bit.
I agree.
A lot of guys, and who could blame them, are just entering the transfer portal. It's like if you're a starting offensive lineman with experience, you can make a lot of money just leaving your school to go to a new one.
100%.
And, who could blame a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid for taking an extra $500,000 just to move across the country for a year? That shouldn't be as easy to do now. You're going to have to get a cut of the same way you will in the NFL. Team is going to have to assess your value based on what they have available.
For sure.
And then give you a percentage of it. Mm-hmm. And if you're potentially a depth piece for a big school, like they're not going to be willing to give you the same amount they were willing to do before.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, this is also assuming that the collectives don't just keep giving whatever they want to whoever.
Sure. Chat, go ahead and throw Jalen's name in there. Like that wasn't. I didn't exclude his name for a reason.
It wasn't the point.
No. Also, this came out on Friday too. This is just an example of how Colorado is going to be such a player because of these changes. The new college football game comes out in like a month. Last year, I mean, Travis was on the cover. It was crazy. They put the Shedeur in the game. Like, if you could actually track it, I would not be surprised if they were the top played team in college football 25.
I think
it
definitely
is trackable, and I bet they were.
Yeah.
Well, in college football 26, EA said they are going to implement a new method of paying schools based on how much gamers play with their team.
Wow.
Colorado is going to be easily a top 5 played team.
So wait, instead of the equal to everyone, or
Yes.
this is in addition to? Okay.
For the schools, though. This isn't for the players. This is for the schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Colorado's definitely top 10 at the worst.
So pretty much every time you play with the Colorado Buffaloes on the game, you are increasing Colorado's royalties.
Yeah. How does that sound?
Might be a reason to come out of retirement.
Crazy to think about, right? And
I would be hurting my own school if I don't play the game.
period. That's just the truth of the matter,
You
bro.
need to tell Ellie that, too. Like, when she tells you to get off the game and be like,
The Buffs need me. I'm
this
sorry.
is for the future of CU football here.
And this is, you mentioned how the pay scale was for schools last year with the first edition of this kind of new game. So this is how it's going to work now, right? So the total royalties reported for like all schools is $5 million. So for example, say there's 700 million total games played on the game. Say Colorado is in 7 million of those games. That's 1% of those total games played. So 1%, you get 1% of that $5 million total pool. So say 1% of games included Colorado, they get $50,000 in royalties. Colorado does for people playing with Colorado on the game, as opposed to last year. If you guys remember that tier ranking that came out, there was tier 1, tier 2.
Right.
Colorado was in tier 3.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Alongside
Nasty.
Minnesota and Air Force.
They got to deal with that
and
one.
App State. And tier 3 schools last year got $39,000 in royalties. So that number is going to explode, obviously, this year for Colorado in terms of royalties based on how many players want to play with Caden Salter and whatnot. And this is another thing, too, I just thought about with all this. Like, this is obviously completely up to Coach Prime. But I think with this news,
of course,
he's kind of got to be in the game next year.
She should be in the game this year still.
I don't think he is, but next year he's got to be in the game. I feel like because
He needs
people
to
are
take a
going to
flight
want
to Florida right now. Then.
Exactly. People are going to want to just see Coach Prime walking along the sideline in the game, and that's just going to quite literally lead to money coming into the Colorado football program. So that's cool stuff, and obviously amazing for Colorado. Again, I don't know if another school benefits from that more than them.
So there it is. That's the future is here.
Yeah.
All this talk of we'll see what happens when it's passed and all this stuff, like this is now. There will be some changes, obviously. They are still working on the CFP format for 26 and beyond. So, and who knows with realignment and all that can kick off at any moment. But
and players are getting paid more too. For getting, I remember last year they got $600 for being in it. It's up to $1,500 now.
Yep.
So that's cool.
I mean, of course, it was one of the biggest games of
Yeah.
all games last year, and that was obvious to anyone who played it before and like knew the wave that was coming back in terms of the fandom and just how much people cared about a college football video game.
More than 1.7 billion streams of the game, bro.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And honestly, I don't know if you guys saw any of the stuff from the beta over the weekend. They fixed a lot of stuff. I'm very excited for this new game.
Nice.
Let's take our next break, and then we'll get to recruiting. Shout out to the homies over at Toyota. if you're out in Colorado, you basically need a Toyota to get around. Obviously, driving through Denver and all the cities and stuff, but to explore all of Colorado's beauty, to hit the mountains, all the trails and all that. What?
Nothing.
You need a Toyota to get you there. What are you laughing at?
You know exactly what we're laughing at.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you just finish the read and we'll tell you.
They have hybrids, trucks, sports cars. What?
Just go.
And many, many more. And you can hit up your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial. Corwin Toyota in Boulder. Groove Toyota in Littleton. Mountain States Toyota in Denver. Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora. And Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
Shout out to the squad over at Raising Cane's. If you can't see that, it's Raising Cane's here on this football. But y'all already know how I feel about Raising Cane's, man. It's perfect time. It's summertime. It's a perfect summer meal. You mentioned last week sometimes. I saw actually another one. I don't remember where I was at. Maybe somewhere in Aurora, but another Raising Cane's that had just like an outdoor patio situation. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful day outside, bro. People were outside enjoying chicken fingers and whatnot. It looked like an entire vibe. So next time you're out on your next summer road trip, order at raisingcanes.com or on the Cane's mobile app to satisfy your chicken finger fix in a snap. At Raising Cane's, every chicken finger is hand battered and cooked to order. Every crinkle cut fry is crispy and perfectly salted, and every Texas toast is buttered to perfection. And most importantly, potentially, every Cane sauce is made in restaurant each day, ready to be dipped. Are you hungry yet? Get your order today at Cane's and keep the road trip going. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
What did I say?
You said to explore all of Colorado's booty.
Which, I can't blame you.
I said beauty.
Well, we can check the tapes.
Good thing this is recorded, so I think we check.
Y'all are insane.
I mean, everyone here heard it.
You're right. We crazy.
I said beauty.
I didn't heard it, but I just heard you laugh. I was like, he must have said something.
Diallo knows something. He said Colorado's what, Jake?
I know what I said. That's why I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
I support the mission.
No complaints.
All right.
And if you have a Toyota, your chances increase.
I guess so. All right, recruiting. We had 2 visitors over the weekend. Go ahead and throw up Jordan Clay. Yes, another wide receiver. But
Dog, though.
he is a dog. And I was just thinking about it. Like, look, the most important aspect, what's the word I'm looking for? Most important person on the team is Julian Lewis, right? For the future, right?
Mm-hmm. And dudes go want to come to play with him. Who play
Get the kid
receiver?
some weapons, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's Jordan Clay with Coach Shad. They're in the IPF. Jordan Clay, 110th ranked player in the 2026 class, 14th overall wide receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds. Madison High School, San Antonio, Texas.
Big fella. Number 8 ranked receiver in this 2026 class. I mean, you see it. The 6'3" to 200+ pound frame right there. Scouting report, at least according to Gabe Brooks on 24/7 Sports. Tall, angular wideout with a big base, huge hands, and plus length. Enhances height and frame with acrobatic mid-air ability, displaying body control, timing, dexterity, and competitiveness. Dude's a baller.
I feel like recruits really love Coach Shad.
I could see that.
Me too. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like he ends up in a lot of those pictures.
does.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just he must connect with them really well, which you could imagine.
The combo of him and Jay Phil it's no
course.
real surprise why they continue to add elite high school and transfer receivers.
Also, shout out to Coach Shad's mom, who's just one of our favorite
She's one of
people
the
to
best.
run into
Absolutely.
on campus.
Crazy.
Yep.
Colorado's in his top 10 too, by the way. Jordan Clay.
Thank you. He also has 2 more OVs remaining this summer, at least scheduled on 247. He's got Baylor this weekend, and he's got Oklahoma the weekend after that. So we'll see. We also had 2026 3-star interior offensive lineman Ben Gula visiting 831st overall player, 76th ranked interior offensive lineman, listed at 6'5", 255, Cypress Bay High School, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He does have offers to... he's got 15 total offers. Indiana, Maryland, Texas A&M, and UCF are among them. Of course, Colorado is as well.
He looked kind of familiar in that 52 jersey.
I like just glorifying calling out protections in the photo.
Right.
It's low-key fire. Because, like, what really else can you do as a lineman, you
Yeah.
know, other than just get in the stands, you know?
So you gotta like do the Heisman pose. Also, it would be kind of funny if you did though.
He did.
All right,
I was going to say, I saw somebody do it this weekend. I don't remember if it was him.
That was him.
I support it. That's hilarious. So that's where my brain went, and that actually happened.
I've got some quotes from the both of them. The trip was great, Jordan Clay said. I really enjoyed myself and got to spend time with the players and the coaches. I will say that Colorado made a huge jump to the top of my recruitment. I really enjoyed interacting with the players and getting to know them. There was no ice to be broken with them. It was all natural. And then Ben Gula, he checked in with our guy Adam Munstertiger. Said, my main takeaway from the visit was that Colorado is a legit champion contender with coaches that have had real NFL experience. It was a blessing to be able to get first off get up there, but also to be able to talk ball with so many coaches that have been in my shoes. There were plenty of things that surprised me about Boulder. First thing was definitely the mountains. I've never seen any before I got there, and it was definitely surreal to see them in person. I was also surprised by how bought in every single piece of their puzzle is, from their trainers, coaches, people on campus. Everyone believes they can bring a championship to Boulder.
Hell yeah.
All facts.
We had 2 guys release top schools. This was like Friday during the show, actually, so it's been a minute. But first one is Preston Ashley. I think we've talked about him before. Only a little bit, though. But this is big. He put out a top 3. Florida State, Florida, and Colorado.
That is the third Florida school.
Yes, exactly. From Brandon High School in Brandon, Mississippi, 5'10", 170. 4-star, 213th overall player, 18th ranked safety. Interesting enough, ranked safety, but listed at cornerback. He will have an OV to Colorado on the 20th. So not this weekend, the weekend after. He will be coming on his OV. He goes to Florida State end of August. There's no date set for his commitment yet.
He's got a date set for September 6th.
Okay, thank you.
So pretty soon.
That is a week before or a week after he goes to FSU too.
He'll be part of a pretty big recruiting weekend for Colorado, that weekend of the 20th. This weekend as well should be another sizable recruiting weekend of visitors here in Boulder as well. So it's the summertime. It's the time to do that and lock in these elite talents.
No doubt. Rodney Colton Jr. also put out a top 5.
Demon.
Ole Miss, UCLA, Tennessee, Florida State, and Colorado. Do you have his rankings, Scotty?
Nah. You'll probably get there before
I've got
me.
it.
Yeah.
4-star, 305th overall player, 21st ranked linebacker from Noonan High School in Noonan, Georgia. 6'1", 220. Huh?
Nothing.
Went on OVs this offseason. So his last OV this offseason that is scheduled on 247 is Colorado, and that is on the 20th.
What 5 did you say he's
Ole Miss, UCLA, Tennessee, Florida State, Colorado. He is going, or he went on OVs to.
So apparently, just real quickly. Apparently he swapped out Tennessee for Penn State.
Okay, that would make more sense because so before this Colorado visit, sorry, this timeline is just messing me up. He's going to Colorado on the 20th. That's 2 weeks from now. This weekend, he's going to Ole Miss. This last weekend, he was at Florida State.
Yeah.
The weekend before, he was at Penn State. And 2 weekends before that, he was at UCLA. He also took an OV to SMU, but they did not make the cut, it seems.
He's a former South Carolina commit. And he also has another a commitment date set for August 9th. So August is going to be cracking with a lot of targets of Colorado announcing their decision. And that could be a massive month for the recruiting side for Colorado.
I feel like we're just about to get into the season where dominoes start to fall.
Yep.
This is what it was like June. I want to say it was like June 21st last year that like it was the Juju visit and they got commits off of that and
Yeah.
Think so.
yeah.
We have one. So Preston Ashley is coming. Damn it, I already forgot. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
It's next weekend.
Next
Him
weekend?
and Colton will be here together, which is scary in a good way.
So Colby Johnson announced that he will be taking a visit this weekend.
Yeah. It's the linebacker from Washington, right?
Yes, sir. The 3-star linebacker from Eastlake High School in Sammamish, Washington.
Ooh, that was a good pronunciation. I think, yeah, I would have
Sammamish?
got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Sound right to me.
More under the radar player, but big recruiting weekends coming up. Did you want to do your list of guys who? What's up, Unc?
Unc was popping.
What up, Onk?
Just a couple more guys in terms of while we're talking recruiting who have recently trimmed their list down to a final, whatever, 4 or 5,
Top schools
10.
list,
Top
yeah.
schools, pretty much, right? You mentioned, we talked about a couple of them there. Jordan Clay has Colorado in his final 10. Rodney Colton has Colorado in his final 5. Preston Ashley in his final 3. Just put together a total of 8 guys, at least that I've come across who have put out final lists that include Colorado. 4-star offensive tackle Johnny DJ Jones from Florida, who we talked about. Colorado is in his final 6. Manoa Falpusa, the defensive tackle, who obviously has connections
California?
in California,
Yep.
right? Who told Adam Munster Tiger that he used to watch Domata Peko Jr. highlights,
Right.
or Domata Peko highlights,
Senior,
excuse me, yes. So Falpusa has Colorado in his final 5. Jordan Deck, the 4-star safety from Texas, I believe, has Colorado in his final 4. Cedarian Morgan, the big dog, Colorado in his final 6, the 5-star wide receiver. And then Oscar Rios as well, the 4-star quarterback. Colorado is still in the market for a quarterback in this 2026 class. Colorado is in his final 7. And if you remember, Colorado was in Gavin Mueller's final 4, the first high school commit for the Buffs in this 2026 class. So,
Did you mention KJ Edwards?
no, I didn't. Is he final what?
I'm pretty sure he put out a top school list.
Did he?
Not?
I'm not sure. Obviously KJ is very much interested in Colorado, and the feeling is mutual, after he had the quote of the offseason where he said, RBU, coming to see you shortly. But yeah, I don't know if he actually put out a
I thought he did. I'll try and find it.
Yeah. But shout out Unc. in
Shout
the
out
chat.
Unc for sure. Go check out Friday's show if you haven't. It was a banger.
Fire.
We actually have more recruiting to get to. So we've seen some recruits at Colorado do this, but pull up the South Carolina picture, please. That is Shane Beamer with, I believe, Landon Duckworth, who's a 4-star quarterback at South Carolina, or 4-star quarterback visiting South Carolina. How do we feel about this?
I mean, if the kid wanted to do it, what is he going to say? No?
Facts. And honestly, Beamer's kind of Shedeur stance is kind of
Yeah.
hard. You know?
Well-
I feel like it could have been a lot worse. I can think of some other coaches that it wouldn't have looked as cool as Beamer there.
Yes, yes.
But it is just like,
So
save that for your Colorado visit.
how I feel is like, 1, the influence is cool. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Shedeur's like that, obviously. 2, it's also like, could you like not do that? That's not your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the closest thing we have to like, throwing up the horns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it would be like going on a visit and throwing up the horns at Missouri.
But did you see that Brent Venables, he took a picture with someone, they did horns down.
And
Oh, really?
Yes.
and I hate that even more.
Ain't you not supposed to do that no more?
That's a penalty in the SEC, brother.
That's crazy.
Well,
I think. Or
my-
it might have been Big 12. Either
My
way.
issue with it is it's not a penalty in the SEC. It was in the Big 12.
Okay, thank you.
My issue with it is like, I don't want my coach ever thinking about or talking about another program while they have visitors on campus.
For sure.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
what
what does that conversation go? Isn't
just-
that Colorado's thing right before you do it? Like,
Yeah, but even like I'm talking about the horns down one where I'm just
Oh.
like,
yeah.
you're like, you shouldn't even. The words Texas should never come out of your mouth
Period.
while players on campus at Oklahoma. And I would be so bummed as a fan to be like, we're just like admitting that they're in our heads by doing that.
no.
But again, it's usually probably the kid's idea. So
And it wasn't just that South Carolina recruit either this weekend, throwing up the Shedeur. Bro is overly influential.
He is.
Like, I don't know. I was trying to think about earlier, like a sport like celebration that wasn't like a dance or something that has like caught on more than the Shedeur. Like the only thing I can think of is like Johnny Manziel, who we talked about a little bit last week, like with the money thing. But like, I really can't think of anything else
The
that is like
Harden thing.
Yeah,
A little.
potentially. Yeah. But I mean, it's
not to this level.
Not to this level. And reason I brought Caitlin Clark this weekend.
Yep.
One of the biggest stars in sports right now. Walking through, before the game, throwing up the Shedeur. Caitlin Clark.
I wish
You didn't see that?
Caitlin Clark throwing up Shedeur. Our guy, friend of the show, Jay Cruel, was on his Florida visit this weekend. And in Florida's locker room, taking Florida OV pictures, throwing up the Shedeur. Like it is. It's taken over. I mean, it is global, as David Butler says. Like it is the thing.
It's crazy that it still has so much staying power.
For sure.
And I think one of the reasons why it hit so hard when it did is because anyone can do it.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
there could be a new dance craze. Your boy has no shot in participating in that.
Like,
But I
can't
can throw
everybody
up my
gritty?
watch.
Right. I don't that watch though. It's crazy, bro. Like I feel like that's gonna be one of the main things we see in college football as a celebration. Like you get in the end zone, just throw it up. I feel like it's gonna be super popular.
Yep. I mean, we already saw Breece Hall and a bunch of people doing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be the thing. I feel like this year. I'll never forget that the Texas Tech Shedeur either though. That was the best one because I feel like it had been a couple weeks since he had did it in a game.
Yeah.
My favorite
And
is
it
the
was-
Cincinnati one.
Yeah.
He
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
That I don't know. I think the Cincinnati one was my favorite too.
The first Browns won in a game is going to be
electric.
electric, legendary.
I saw some people in the chat calling the Shane Beamer picture corny. Can you pull up the other picture, please? So, do you know what that is?
Bro, I saw this and didn't know what to make of it. Do you know who that is?
Do you know who that is and what's going on there?
No.
It's
Take a
that's-
wild guess. Who is in that suit?
I have an educated guess because I saw people talking about something in the comments earlier. So Dan Lanning.
That is
Yeah.
Dan Lanning.
I don't know what that was. I still don't know what it is.
I don't know. He's just in a hazmat suit. A Nike hazmat suit.
You're just doing it for clicks, bro.
Insane.
They're just doing it for clicks, man. And they're not slick either. Yeah, this is corny. Beamer, that was kind of cool. This is corny.
Let's not mention he also jumped in a pool for a kid that decommitted on him like 2 weeks after.
What's happening there? Like, what are we trying to do?
I don't know. He just took a picture with some recruit.
So I still don't understand. Still don't understand.
Crazy.
But this is the way we... Bro, I feel like the first crazy one we saw was like... And I'll never forget this. Brian Kelly with like the circular...
The 360 camera? Yeah.
We're just going to see more of that outlandish stuff from like coach because they're going to do anything to get these kids to commit. And like we're going to just start seeing like wild stuff like this
Meanwhile, all Coach Prime has to do is just put on his sunglasses and smile.
in front of that sign.
That's all he got. And yeah, in front of the wall.
Yeah, in front of the wall. Facts. It's crazy, dog.
Insane.
Yeah, wild. Kam Mikell.
Let's get into it.
So we've talked. Honestly, we haven't talked enough about Kam Mikell this offseason, but we keep trying to tell y'all not to sleep on him. The speed is real. He had some momentum, obviously, in spring football, returning from that injury that sidelined him last year. Do you have all the background on this?
Yeah, so how this started was Osakin's Ducktail on Twitter. Shout out to him. Very active in the CU Twitter community. I think this was Friday. He tweeted out just like some highlights from Kam Mikell, some high school highlights from Kam Mikell. And obviously Kam, we've talked about this. He played quarterback, running back, receiver, DB. You know what I'm saying? He played everything down there in Georgia. So Osakin's Ducktail on Twitter, like I said, he posted Kam's high school highlights with the caption like, "Hear me out. Kam Mikell, RB1." And he mentioned the fact that Georgia Tech's starting running back, returning running back, Jamal Haynes, who's a really good player, started at Georgia Tech as a receiver. No stats for 2 years. He moved to running back. Jamal Haynes did, and was a 1,000-yard rusher. I believe this past season they're really close to it. And so he pretty much opined about the idea of Kam Mikell playing running back. And Kam Mikell's mother, Denise, responded to that post and goes, "That's the move!" ! So Cam's mother is apparently on board or approves of Kam potentially playing some running back. And obviously this spring we saw Kam working with the running backs a little bit. We asked Coach Shermer one availability about the potential of Kam playing running back. And as you said, Coach Shermer pretty much just poured cold water all over
Did not
him.
like my question.
And he was like, yeah, Cam's going to play receiver for us.
Yes.
But clearly Kam obviously has the talent to do that. He did it in high school, rushed for over 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns in high school at running back. He had 7 100-yard rushing games, a 200-yard rushing game in high school. So, bro is obviously capable. And we said it multiple times. He's the fastest player on the team. That type of speed and elusiveness and agility, you want that type of talent to have the ball in his hands as much as possible. And with a really crowded receivers room, I don't hate the idea.
We talked about that with Draylon, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have multiple guys in that wide receiver room who are not your typical wide receiver build in different ways, but those two especially, Kam and Draylon, you could absolutely hand them the ball off, swing a pass to them out the backfield, anything like that, and just watch them go to work.
Hell yeah.
It's intriguing. It is intriguing. I feel like, I don't know, I'm torn because I feel like he can make a big impact at both places. We talked about this earlier in the offseason, though. I just want them to commit to one.
Yes.
Right.
And I feel confident that he'll be an impact player at either one.
Most definitely.
We also have Phil Steele's Big 12 projections for 2025.
And we are back.
Oh, we're so back. We never left. I don't know if we'll ever leave this territory here.
Phil Steele, I don't know who he writes for, but he's been around for a long
himself,
time.
honestly.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I think that's what it is, yeah. Been around for a long time.
RK, you want to guess 1 through 16
On what was it?
where Phil Steele has Colorado for the 2025 season?
Finishing in the Big 12.
12.
Wow. Spot on.
What a guy. He knows
12.
I know what they think of us.
Facts.
Technically, we're tied for 12th in this projection with UCF. Scott Frost. The program they ruined 8 months ago.
I mean, no one's gonna believe until we make them believe.
Nope.
It's crazy though. It's getting to just like laziness at this point. Like they just don't want to see what Colorado is.
A 3-way tie at the top, though, between Baylor, Utah, Iowa State.
Big Sawyer Robinson fan, huh?
I don't think any of those three teams will be in the top 3.
He's got Arizona State and K-State next.
Okay.
Then Tech,
Okay.
TCU, BYU, Cincinnati, Kansas, Houston, UCF, Colorado, Oklahoma State, Arizona, West Virginia.
Bro, the chances of Houston and UCF both finishing ahead of Colorado this season
Are zero.
Zero.
Yes. 100%.
It's crazy. Just one spot ahead of Oklahoma State. Yeah, come on.
Crazy.
Yeah, Stevie, it's going to be another lucrative fall. No doubt.
I was just thinking about this when we were talking about it. If we make money on the over again this year, 3 years in a row, just easy. I mean, if
No
we,
sweat.
Yeah. When did we clear it last year? Because it was what, 5.5, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
So
they got
UCF?
to 6.
Was that 5-2, right?
I'm not sure. We'll check it out.
Either way, it was early in the year. Like, we're not even sweating this out going out to last 2 weeks of the year. Is Colorado going to hit the over on their win total type of thing? Like,
Yeah.
I expect the same thing this year. It might be mid-October, and we're going to hit the over again, the over 5.5, and
then
we're just
roll
going to
it
keep
over.
winning, and they're going to do it again next year.
Yeah.
I mean, you beat Georgia Tech and
Exactly.
you got a really good chance to start with a lot of wins.
You might get a payout offer if they beat Georgia Tech, honestly.
Yeah.
It was a little bit later. So what? So they cleared it at 6, right? 6 wins.
What was it last year? 5.5, 6?
It was 6.5, I think.
Okay.
They got the 7 against Tech.
Nope, then it must have been 6 because it was before that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I think
then.
it was the Cincy game because that was just, yeah.
Late October, though. Like you said.
That's the thing.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to the chat.
Chatsky.
Yeah, because it was a home game. It was the game that we were at
Yeah,
together.
it was
Yep.
Cincy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to go first? What's up, Essence Services? They ask, so is this the end of NIL or these are two separate things, meaning 20.5 mil per school, but players can still get NIL deals? Yes. Revenue sharing is separate from NIL. And the cap for revenue sharing does not have anything to do with third-party NIL deals.
Yep.
Yep.
Cam Duncan says, have you seen the new turf yet? I saw some pictures.
Saw a pick.
The black end zones look very, very nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my number one takeaway. I know that people are, somewhere on the fence about it, but the black turf looks sick in the end zones, and I've always been a supporter of that. When we had grass, and apparently it's like bad for the grass.
I mean, I'd imagine you're probably going to bake it.
Yeah, so it was only done a couple times that I can remember. So it looks way cooler with the gold on the black.
The turf's going to shine under the lights. A Folsom night game is going to have a whole different aura to it now, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think about it. How many, big time college football games played on turf? Like, it has that different look to it. You know what I mean?
Shine,
Like, yeah.
I love how they've alternated the the green too.
Yeah, for the in
Like the
between the
lighter
end zones.
green, the
Yeah.
darker green is so sick. And I think it's dope too how it says Buffaloes in the end zone, right next to the Colorado.
Oh, when
in
they
the back of
repaved
the
the
end zone,
Colorado,
that's gonna be
it's-
so dope. It's
yeah.
literally Colorado Buffalo. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Then do you put Buffaloes in the other end zone or Colorado?
I think it's Buffaloes in both end zones.
Okay.
Yep.
That'd be sick.
Dope Slab says, did you guys see where JoJo said Coach Prime has aura on the Reach the People podcast? I did not. I need to check that out. I heard a lot of good stuff came from that from Joseph Williams, though.
Shout out JoJo, man.
Yep. Julius asks, will there be any player interviews soon? I wish, man. I wish I could say, I wish I had anything to tell you on this, honestly.
Yeah.
We're working on it. Hopefully soon. Mr. Maurice, we'll see you still have a big collective push. So the 5430 Alliance isn't going anywhere, correct?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
We still don't know everything. I don't know either. I can't answer this question.
I do believe that is staying in place. That was done in preparation of this.
Because I think it's being brought more in-house
Yes.
than it was.
Yes.
So yes, go check out the site. You should be good. Has Oscar Rios visited yet? He has not. But I'm beginning to wonder if that's even going to happen. Because on his 247 sports page, he does not have Colorado. The OV is no longer on his timeline. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Still scheduled to commit at the end of this month, though.
Yeah.
25th,
right? I think.
25th of June, yep.
Yeah.
414J says, did we pick up any players from post-grad camp? Not yet. We saw some offers go out, but that's it for now. Need to talk more about how special teams will elevate us this year? We can do that.
And touch bucks gonna hit like crazy.
I hope it's standing ovation after everyone.
It should be. It really should be.
Who we think is going to wear 0? Probably no one.
That's,
Good guess.
That 60-yard field goal from Buck gonna hit too.
Facts.
Yep.
If Coach Prime didn't let Shane Cokes wear 0, I don't think anyone's going to wear 0.
Was he trying
Colorado.
to?
Yeah, that was his number at Dartmouth for 4 years.
Oh.
Yep.
right, chat. Covered a lot today, so I don't know if we'll have this many dense shows later this week, but we'll be back later this week nonetheless. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.